You ever hear someone say cockroaches will outlive us all? That's adorable, because the truth is they wouldn't even crack the top 5 on nature's list of radiation-proof monsters. And once you see what actually does survive radiation, creatures that eat it, ignore it, or evolve around it, you start to wonder whether Earth even belongs to us, or if we're just renting space from immortals that don't care what we drop on them. It all starts with a question scientists kept asking across decades of nuclear tests, medical radiation research, and the accidental disasters that rewrote entire landscapes. What refuses to die? And the deeper they looked, the more unsettling the answers became. Because some of these species don't just outlast radiation, they use it as fuel, a shield, or a reason to evolve into something tougher. And nature reveals these champions one by one. The first creature on that list almost feels like a cartoon character brought to life. The tardigrade. Tiny, squishy, cute, and virtually indestructible. As researchers cranked up radiation levels to numbers that shred human DNA like paper, the tardigrades just shrugged, rolled into a dehydrated ball, and waited it out. Their bodies manufacture a protein that acts like an internal suit of armor, preventing radiation from ripping their DNA apart. The most chilling part? When conditions improve, they simply rehydrate and walk it off like nothing happened. It's the biological equivalent of taking a direct hit from a bomb and then asking, okay, so what's next? But the tardigrade isn't alone. In fact, the next creature survives radiation not by resisting damage, but by repairing itself so fast that the damage barely matters. Deinococcus radiodurans, nicknamed Conan the Bacterium, laughs in the face of radiation doses that would wipe out nearly anything else. When scientists blasted it with enough radiation to shatter its DNA into thousands of fragments, it stitched itself back together in hours, perfectly, like a biological jigsaw puzzle with built-in instructions. Instead of treating radiation as a threat, it treats it like an inconvenience. At some point, scientists stopped asking, can it survive this? And started asking, why is this even possible? What comes next shifts the story to a place where radiation should have created a dead zone, but instead created a bizarre sanctuary. Around the remains of Chernobyl, where radiation lingers at levels that would cause cancer in humans in minutes, the local wildlife did something astonishing. It moved back in. Wolves, boar, horses, birds, insects, all thriving with minimal human interference. Among them are frogs that evolved to turn jet black, absorbing radiation and transforming melanin from pigment into a protective shield. While people feared mutations, these frogs simply rewired their biology to cope with the fallout. Nature didn't retreat, it reinvented itself. Yet not all radiation-resistant species are products of catastrophe. Some evolved with radiation as a natural part of their world. Deep underground, far from sunlight, fungal colonies emerged that don't just tolerate radiation, they consume it. Called radiotrophic fungi, these organisms use melanin the way plants use chlorophyll. Where plants turn sunlight into energy, these fungi turn gamma radiation into growth. Scientists studying them realized they weren't just surviving near radiation. They were thriving, expanding, and potentially offering clues to how life could exist on harsh, irradiated planets. If something can eat radiation, what else can it do? Moving from the underground to the ocean, another radiation-resistant champion lurks in the simplest body plan imaginable. Flatworms, planarians, can regenerate from fragments so small you might miss them under a microscope. Radiation that should kill most creatures simply forces them to regrow whatever is damaged. At one point, researchers exposed a planarian to a radiation dose that obliterated its cells, and weeks later it regenerated into a fully functional worm again. It wasn't cheating death, it was rewriting it. But then there's the species that shouldn't be able to survive radiation at all, yet somehow does. the American alligator. Not because of regeneration or special DNA or secret proteins, but because of simplicity and durability. Their slow cell turnover and armored bodies give them a surprising resilience to environmental contamination. They may not be immune, but they endure in a way that shows how strength doesn't always come from complexity. Sometimes it's just about being built like ancient living tanks. Then there's the scorpion, a creature people already associate with toughness. But, few know that some scorpions can withstand radiation doses hundreds of times higher than humans. Their bodies have efficient DNA repair mechanisms, but more interestingly, their behavior helps. Many scorpions hide deep under rocks or sand during daylight, naturally shielding themselves from radiation exposure long before humans thought of bomb shelters. Their resilience isn't just biological. It's strategic. As we move closer to the end of the list, the animals get stranger, and honestly, the mechanisms more unsettling. Certain species of parasitic wasps have larvae that can shrug off radiation because their development process includes extreme DNA repair as a built-in step. Some nematodes, the microscopic worms living in everything from soil to Antarctic ice, have been found surviving not just high radiation, but desiccation, freezing, and vacuum, often simultaneously. Many of them survived inside the ruins of Chernobyl, as if the disaster never happened. But nothing on this list, not the tardigrade, not the fungus, not even Conan the Bacterium, matches the most resilient radiation-proof species known, bacteriophages. These viruses can survive absurd levels of radiation because, they don't live in the way other organisms do. They're genetic blueprints wrapped in the simplest protective casing imaginable. Radiation can damage them, but there's nothing alive to kill, no systems to disrupt. When conditions become favorable again, they simply reassemble and resume their genetic mission. They don't fight radiation, they outweight it. And in an environment where everything else dies, viruses like these become the ultimate silent survivors. All these species, from microscopic to massive, reveal a truth that feels almost uncomfortable. Radiation is not the universal killer we imagine it to be. It's only deadly to creatures built like us. For everything else, it's a challenge, a catalyst, a force to adapt to rather than fear. And that's the quiet message hiding beneath every species on this list. Humans imagine radiation as the end of the world, but nature treats it as just another puzzle to solve.